It's July, the dog days of summer. And if you're coming off the water empty-handed or with dinks, well, it just might be the day, or it could be the lures that you have tied on. I'm going to share with you 4 lures that catch big bass for me in July consistently year after year. Let's start off with this guy right here, the football head jig. When that hot weather pushes bass deeper, you're gonna find them on those rocks, you're gonna find them on those steep ledges, you're gonna find them on those dam walls. And the way that the football head is designed, it's not gonna get stuck and caught up in those crevices like a lot of other your lures will do. So you can throw these along those rocky bottoms with confidence. So when it comes to pairing, I'm gonna be pairing it up with a missile D-bomb trailer like those creature baits. It's gonna be a 3/8 ounce jig. The rod's gonna be anywhere from a 7.2 to a 7.6. It's going to be a heavy power, fast action rod. And when it comes to line and I'm fishing open water, I'm going to be fishing anywhere from 17 to 20 pound fluorocarbon line. If you're fishing in that dense, heavy cover with the football head jig, well, I typically don't, only because there's a lot of other presentations I like to use in those scenarios. One of my favorite places to fish this is whenever you see those rocky shores where the rock continues down into the water. Sometimes that rocky shore, it stops and it turns to mud. But if you have gone through and you know that that rock continues down into the water, a lot of people will reach for their crankbaits. I like reaching for the football head jig. All right, another place I like fishing this guy is going to be that laydown. This is going to be the places where not a lot of other anglers feel confident throwing their bait into, but throw this bad boy right in the middle of the thick of it. It's going to fall down into the crevices where those bass are hiding, and that's where a lot of times you're going to get those bites. Those places the other anglers aren't willing to go because they're afraid they're going to lose their lure. All right, lure number 2. Still in the jig family. This is going to be the swim jig. However, I pair it a whole lot differently than I do the football head jig. Now, being July, the swim jig's excellent because there is vegetation everywhere. We got milfoil, you got grass, you got intermittent lily pads, and that's when I break out the swim jig because of its design. Unlike the football head jig, this has a narrow design, which is going to allow it to pass through a lot of that grass without getting hooked up. It's got that slimmer profile. The places I like to fish it is a little bit deeper into those weed lines where a lot of those big bass like to hide. And the swim jig, because they're going to be hitting it in motion, it doesn't need a giant, real thick gauge wire hook. And so it's going to be a thinner gauge wire hook. It's going to penetrate a whole lot easier. And then usually the weed guard on it is a little less robust than, say, your football head jig. So I have this set up, and it's not supposed to rain today. So here we go. Don't trust the weatherman. But I like setting these up on a 3.75 Strike King Rage Swimmer. This is going to be the KVD Magic color, which is really the exclusive color that I use 95% of the time. And when it comes to the swim jigs I like using, these come from All Terrain Tackle. It's my favorite. I don't really use a whole lot of other types because these work so well for me. So the rod length, I'm using anything from a 7.1 to a 7.4. It's going to be a medium heavy to heavy powered rod. Fast action tip. When it comes to the reel, this is a Tatula. I'm going to be using anything from a 7.1 to 1 to an 8.1 to 1. I like to be able to pick up a lot of line really fast. A lot of times they'll hit this and they'll start swimming towards you. So I got to pick up that slack line to get that hook set before I lose it. And the line I like using for the swim jig is going to be anywhere from 17 pound fluorocarbon to 20 pound fluorocarbon. One of my favorite ways to fish this is to throw it out there, let it hit the bottom, and do what we call up here in Northeast Ohio. I'm not quite sure what they call it in your neck of the woods, but yo-yo. So we're going to go pop, pop, let it fall, pop, pop, let it fall, pop, pop, let it fall. So it's going ba-boom, 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 all the way back to where you are, and just get ready for that hook set. Give them a little bit of time to suck that lure in, set the hook, you'll be good to go. All right, lure number 3. It's actually fishing this guy this morning, and it's gonna be this guy, the punch rig. Not a lot of people fish the punch rig, and so let me walk you through where, how to rig it, all that good stuff. So when July's peak vegetation hits its max, that's when you're going to want to break this out, because you're going to want to punch through that heavy vegetation. You want to punch through those mats, because below that is where a lot of those bass are hiding, getting out of the sun, staying cool, and being the predatory fish that they are. They're finding a nice place to hide, to come out and bam, smash any bait fish that kind of swims on by. So you're going to need something that punches through that cover, and that is going to be the punch rig. So you're gonna need a few things for the punch rig. You're gonna need a bobber stop or a peg. I have 2 of them on there just so it kind of locks it in. You're gonna need some type of bullet weight. I like having a skirt on mine. You're gonna need a flipping hook and some type of creature flipping bait. And you just set it up just like that. And then how you hook that hook up is basically just kind of set it in there. You kind of want it, it's not perfect, but you want this to stay lined up straight. Kind of hide that hook just like that. All right, so I have this hooked up on 65-pound braid and be throwing it in. So anytime I get a nice bass and if it starts fighting, I want to be able to pull that out of that salad. And so you're going to need a lot of power to do that. So the rod for me is going to be anywhere from a 7.4 to 7.6 in length. This is going to be a heavy powered rod, fast action tip on this bad boy. You're going to need just to be able to wench these bass, get that nice hook set, because these hooks, they're not thin, right? So you got to put a really wide gauge wire through the lip of that bass. So you're gonna need a lot of power in order to do that. And so that's why you have the setup the way that it is. And I'm also gonna use anywhere from a 7:1 to 8:1 gear ratio in order to pick up a lot of line fast. And how to fish it, it's really easy. Just go to those spots where you have those heavy mats, where you have those lily pads, find a hole, flip this bad boy into it, let it fall to the bottom, jig, jig, jig. And then if they're not hitting, pull it to the next hole, let it fall to the bottom, jig, 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 and just get ready for that bite. And when that bite, when you get it, it's a lot of fun. So if you're out there in the middle of the summer heat and you're like, hey, where are all the bass at? Well, they're likely under those mats, under those lily pads. Break out the punch rig, have a good time. All right, the fourth lure. Actually catching bass on this morning. This one shows up in a lot of my videos just because it's so freaking, it's like a cheat code for fishing. This is going to be the Yamatanuki. I know it looks freaking stupid, looks like a bowling pin, but for whatever reason, bass love to eat bowling pins, I guess, because this thing absolutely slays. And it is one of those baits that is like incredibly versatile, right? I'll throw it, I'm in like the salad right now, I'll throw it in little holes, I'll kind of rip it across the top of lily pads, let it sit in those holes, I'll throw it and let it fall. It's a heavy plastic, right? So a lot of times I like throwing it in the laydowns. I'll throw it right in the middle of like I would a football head jig, let this thing kind of flutter, fall down, and bass absolutely nail it. I'll throw it in open water, 5 to 6 feet of water. It just gets hit a lot of different places. Now it comes in a variety of sizes. This is a 3.5 inch. It's going to come in a 2.5 inch and also a 4.25, which I like buying because the tops will rip out on the EWG hook when you set the hook. And so when you buy the 4.25, you can cut these down and you can make them into the 3.5 by default. So nonetheless, there's a lot that goes into this bait. So I'm actually going to send you to another video that I did that goes into it a little bit more exhaustively. And you can check out that video right there. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day on the water.